Some messages. Keanu's got this taking over the stream though. He's good for now.
Yeah.
Nothing.
How's it looking, Greg?
It looks good. I'm just going, turning it on and everything, getting everything set up.
Alright, thank you.
Hello, Coach McGurk. How are you? Thank you for joining the chat here. Keanu appreciates you. So does hi, and so does JR. Right, Keanu. Keanu's just a bundle of cuteness. I love for him. Thank you. You got strong biceps. Wow, look at that bicep. Strong. Tough kitty, I love you. Keanu was giving JR hissies. He's like, I'll give you hissies. Fivers? All right. Ow! Sorry, I'm not all fixed up. I missed my appointment at my hairdresser. So, what do we got for tonight? I appreciate the handful of people that turned in here late night. Saturday night, it's 8 o'clock in Hawaii, so it's 11 p.m. on the West Coast, and it is like in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm streaming from my phone right now because I've been working on a new video. So, like I put in the title, JR has a lesson planned. He's been doing a lot of notes and stuff the past couple of days on an economics topic. Social matters, and you know, it goes right into what we try to do here on the Mr.G show, on this live stream is, you know, we have, it's a really deep live stream. It's not a one-trick pony. You know, we go over politics, education, and politics, of course. It's you know, political matters, stuff like that, and politics, of course. You're making pork roast on the East Coast. Sounds good. Pork roast takes a long time to cook, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we go over politics and different social matters and stuff like that. It's a much deeper live stream than what some of you are used to. But anyways, I haven't been just sitting around watching football all day. Even though I did keep track of some of the college games. Hawaii is still playing right now. Go Rainbows. The Longhorns etched out a victory. I noticed Ice Poseidon, Mr. Paul Danino, was over at a tailgating event in Austin, Texas, wearing burnt orange, like that guy has ever seen a college classroom in his life. The closest he's been to a college classroom is when he was getting thrown out of one. What's this man doing here with the camera? No, but seriously, guys. No, seriously. That's what he was doing. He was at a tailgating thing. It must suck being Ice Poseidon, because, like, Paul Danino. Because you can tell he doesn't want to live stream, but he's, like, forced to do it. Like, that's all he has. Like I told you guys, I didn't sit around just watching football today. Calm down, JR. In the mornings is the best time to write, and I am a writer. I've written one book. I'm working my second book. So I dedicated 2 solid hours doing nothing but writing this morning, which I'm doing every morning for the next year until I complete my second book. After that, I also started a new video, a new montage video. A lot of you saw it. Well, I know we only have a handful of people watching right now. Oh, okay, more people are watching. What's up, Cody?
Hey, Cody.
So I know a lot of you guys saw the Blade and Bjorn video that I did, that type of montage.
Good. Really good.
But I'm also doing, working on another similar type video, and it was hard to get into the swing of things. I used to make those videos every day, and yeah, and it was hard to get a swing of things because, you know, I'm using a different software with Windows 10 and everything like that. But I started making a new video, and it should be ready in the next couple days. Revolves around Jordan Peterson, who a lot of you are familiar with. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I haven't just been sitting on my ass all day. I did take a nap, and I did miss my doctor's appointment, which sucks. But I didn't eat any fast food. I made some healthy leftovers, and I controlled my shopping and impulses. I fed Miss Meow Meow just earlier. Driveway cam. It's hard to read the thing. You should debate destiny. Okay. Well, the fact of the matter is, I don't want to disappoint anybody, and you know, I'm live right now. I know it's late around the United States, but it's early in Europe, right? But it's late around the United States. But I want to let you guys know I'm not just like sitting on my ass.
Right.
You know, I'm playing video games. Not that there's something wrong with that, but also, you know,
You also went shopping.
yeah, I also went shopping, and I've been doing a better job of keeping my place cleaner. Like keeping, and JR's been a really good influence in that.
It's good for me to contribute since whatever way I can.
So, you know, I did take a nap today.
Okay.
I enjoy taking naps, you know. So it's not.
So you'll take a nap, that's what you'll do?
Well, yeah, I usually take a nap every day, you know.
Like how long, an hour?
An hour or two, yeah. Not more than 2 hours usually. Sometimes I'll take a nap in the morning right after breakfast.
Okay, understood.
But the fact of the matter is, it's good to get in the time of work. Like, I'm a writer, so I wrote 2 solid hours. I'll either go to a library or a coffee shop, and I'll dedicate myself for those 2 hours to just writing. And that's been really good for me. And that's how I wrote my first book, and that's how I'm writing my second book as well.
Right.
So that, and I'm not like justifying like, oh, why did I not stream today? Maybe in a way I am kind of justifying that, like, oh, I did this, I did that. But, you know, it isn't that hard, with some credit to the naysayers, that it isn't that hard to push live. And I could have dedicated a couple hours earlier in the day, away from listening to music or checking football scores. I could have dedicated a couple hours away from that, reading the Bible or reading my book or going over something intellectual. I could have done that, okay? So I'm not saying I'm perfect. I should have done that. It would have been better. In 2018, which I call my most successful year, I would spend each day reading one chapter of the Bible, which would take about an hour, recording myself reading that chapter, reading one chapter of some classic literature, that would take about an hour, and recording the 10, 20 clean jokes. And that would be a simple day. Sometimes I would do 3 of each of those videos, but still, holding yourself accountable. So I am holding myself accountable. I don't know why it's like seems harder now that I'm doing live, but if I did as many of those videos that I did at the beginning of 2018 live, it would be in my best interest. But now that I'm also making montage videos again, it's all about time management. And they've done studies with university students. They say, like, if a university student, if they don't have a part-time job and their only priority is school, they actually do less well as a student that has a part-time job.
Come on, really?
Yeah, and you would think like, well, what is that? The person with the student with the part-time job has less time for studying, right? Well, that's not actually the case. They found like once they reach a certain hours, their grades do drop. You know, once they work a certain hours. But if they're within like this 10 to 15 hour window, they actually perform better because they have more time management. So, and like Jordan Peterson says, you know, like how much time do you waste do people waste every day? A lot of people waste time watching YouTube videos that aren't very productive, that don't help them out.
Yeah, they're
So.
just for entertainment value.
They're just for the entertainment value. And I like the way Jordan Peterson says a lot of people feel like garbage after watching them. Like, why did I spend so much time watching that?
Right.
You know, you're not going to get that from watching a Mr.G stream. So, if you haven't followed already, follow right now. Follow, goddamn. No, just kidding. And subscribe. JR is going to take over in a minute here. He's, like I said, he's had some things planned. What's up, Timmy Duncan? Thank you. Thanks for listening. I was speaking real talk right there.
Okay.
So like I said, you know, you learn from your mistakes. I'm not perfect. I made some mistakes. You could also learn from other people's mistakes, you know. You know, I was on the IP Live here, and I'm seeing, like, how PD Plastic, nobody's watching him. He's been playing Fortnite. And I'm like, well, isn't Fortnite popular? Well, why aren't people watching him? Let's see what he's doing wrong. And then I click on his Fortnite stream, and, like, the quality's terrible. It's, like, shitty frames per second. His camera's garbage. And he's got 10, 20 people watching. So then I click on, well, let's see what the top Fortnite players' streams look like. So then I click on Tfue, or Tufu, whatever the fuck his name is. But he's got 4K camera on himself. The graphics on his Fortnite way better than Petey's Fortnite. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what the difference is. Petey's Fortnite looks like crap. Why would anybody watch that stream when they could watch, you know, a high quality Fortnite stream? So it's like about learning from your mistakes and like admitting, like when you came short. Like today, I'm not really that upset about anything that I did today, besides the fact that I didn't go live for a couple hours earlier. During the middle part of the day, I could have read for a couple hours, or in the early morning hours, I could have went for a run or a vigorous walk. I could have gone and saw some nature. You know, I wake up really early. You know, I spend a few hours, you know, chilling here, listening to music, smoking pot. I could have cut into that time a little bit, and you know, and provided more outside IRL content. So, yeah. Do I play Fortnite? I've played it before. I enjoy it. You know, it's a fun game. You know, it's a part of pop culture, so I'm not gonna just ignore it. You know? Okay, that's a good point, Cody. You said it's not time management, it's the working student appreciates it more. Well, you know, I guess, you know, it's no way to actually 100% tell, but yeah, I just don't like the building part of it, to be honest. But yeah, it's a fun game, and it you know, gets people involved. It like produces an imagined community. So. I noticed some of these like YouTube streamers, like I don't know. It's pretty sad, really. But like, they're starting to like do desktop streams and watch videos and shit. And like, their content is just like asking for money. Like, I saw Sam Pepper did a stream. He walked around a furniture store with his girlfriend. They didn't get a single donation. They ended the stream like in an hour.
Yeah.
Last night, Mexican Andy starts walking around the boulevard. His whole content is, oh, I want to go to Egypt. If you guys donate, I can go to Egypt. You know, he doesn't get a single donation. Like, I'm not like talking smack by saying like a lot of these fuckers have no substance. There's no depth to them.
Right.
Their content is give me money, you know, so I can provide content, you know. Whereas I took the approach, I don't want to do this for little cheap TTS
Right.
novelties. Fuck that. I'm a lot more. I have a lot more substance than that, you know. So I don't need like, you know. Of course, you know, like at this point, you know, hearing a TTS go off, it's just like, whoa, money, you know. But still, you got to be able. If you really enjoy something, you got to be able to do it for no money.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not surprised, you know. Like, I was watching Blade streams, you know. Like, I don't have any money, but I still invested, you know, $50 in a HD camera, $50 into a nice microphone, $50 to a nice light. I watched Blade streams, and he doesn't have any of that. Like, what are you spending all your donos on? Just bottles of booze and packs of cigarettes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you shouldn't be that. I'm not surprised at all, you know? Like, oh, these are who I was competing against? Like, yeah, let's see who's standing last, you know? Oh, SJC, I can't compete with him. Like, he's just full of intellectual genius, right?
And creative effort.
Yeah, and creative effort, you know? Like, me and JR do have a lot more to us than asking for money. That's their content, you know?
Right.
I'm from Denmark, send me money. I'll drink beer. I'm from Denmark, send me money. Yeah, how's that working out, dude? Like, come on, man. At least I have like top-notch editing skills. Like, I'm a very intellectual person. JR is a very well-read intellectual person as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I've never like, you know, I'm not like competing or anything. I'm just saying like.
Well, you're describing in the hopes that maybe they would do stuff more like you, which is good.
Well, I'm just saying it like how it is, you know. Like I started talking about this. Like I've noticed some of the streamers like Pepper and Larry, they're like doing desktop streams and
Yeah.
you know, and like Mexican Andy, like I thought of a funny comment yesterday. Like he ended the stream after 40 minutes and like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you couldn't keep your viewers with your magnetic personality and awesome looks, good looks, you know? I mean, that sounds kind of fucked up, but still, like damn, I wish I was you, Mexican Andy, you know? I mean, when a woman sees you, her jaw just drops to the floor, you know? You leave women speechless. But, like, come on. And I don't feel bad about that. Mexican Andy was talking so much shit about me on IP2. Under the pseudonym Frodo Bagging Balls. So fuck you, dude. You know, I don't feel bad about talking shit about you either. But still, like I didn't make Mexican Andy in a laboratory, right?
Right.
Like I'm not like I may like sound like an asshole, but it's like he is what he is. Like, you know, I don't mean to like say I'm so much better, but like. What the fuck? If I'm competing about him, if we were playing basketball against each other, like, it'd be like, I think I can win a score against you, Mexican Andy. I'm sorry, but like, you know, like, what do you want me to say?
Good. Well said.
Yeah, it's not like Mexican Andy is like he's made thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's not like, you know, he did that. It's not like he did that with his personality and his
Well, his routine ran out. He did like routine pranks and going up to people, and it eventually, there's only so much you can do with one little skit,
Yeah.
a routine of being kind of goofy.
Yeah, or just like blasting TTS in public or something. Like, how long can that last? Like, I mean, I'm sorry, Mexican Andy's kind of a nice guy. Steven, Asian Andy, is not a nice guy.
Okay,
Alright?
okay.
So I see, like, there's a reason these people are banned on Twitch. Thank God. You know? There's a reason I enjoy Twitch better than YouTube. That's one of the reasons.
And you make use of the Twitch platform.
Yeah, and it has a lot less degenerates on it, you know. So. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be an asshole. Like, what should I say? Like, look at Asian Andy. Look at him.
Right.
Look at him rip off his shirt and blast the N-word in front of black people to get a reaction. Like, look at him. Like, that's all he got. There's nothing deeper there. You know? There's no, like, voice talent. There's no intellectual prowess. There's nothing. You know?
And there's no, like, deep, like thought out agenda behind what he's doing. It's just superficial.
Yeah, there's no thought out agenda. He's not that famous actor, I mean the famous comedian from New York that, the name is on the tip of my tongue, but anyways.
Yeah.
That was good friends with the
And he doesn't have alternative streams of income. Like you do different things, so I do my things.
yeah.
You know,
Like, you'll never...
you work really hard at IRL and editing, so like you're serious about it.
Yeah. Like, these people are never gonna, like, spend the time to dedicate to write their own book like I did. You know, that's like a good example. Like, they
They're
don't...
kind of like salesmen, like car salesmen. They're kind of like they're not necessarily into the cars per se.
Mhm.
You know, just into, you know, monetary gain,
Uh-huh.
and not really.
Their
like,
heart's not in it.
Yeah, not really like, you know, wow, this is, you know, this is a social and, you know, it's a social engagement and it's like, you know, it's theater, it's theater activity.
But well, there's a lot of different possibilities with live streaming, you know, like as far as like educational aspect of it. And,
Yeah.
like what we do, we're not just walking around baiting donations, you know.
Right.
Like there's actually more to us than that.
Well, yeah, of course. So how's the chat doing? How are they doing?
They're doing good. I was gonna turn it over to you in a second.
Good.
They don't watch TED Talks in economics. Well, yeah, we reach out to. We have a
Tell
further
them
reach.
I'm not gonna do any. I'm just gonna talk about the videos and my opinions. I'm not gonna watch any videos.
Yeah, he's not gonna be watching videos. He's gonna have the whiteboard. You can erase what's on there too on the whiteboard.
Did you already take a picture of it?
No, but it's good. I have it all in my head. I'm gonna write some more of it, letters.
Well, if you know, I'll take a picture of it. I think it's great.
Okay, that's fine.
You know, then I'll raise it because yeah, I'll need to use the whiteboard.
Okay. So yeah, you can call me cock if you want, but I walk the walk and I can talk the talk, so, like, fuck the fucking haters, dude. Hey, Mexican Andy, you know, you should write a book about your life. You should go, do it in like 100 different libraries across the United States. You don't even need a computer. Just do it like as you're homeless. Just go to the library and work on it 2 hours a day. Do that for like 5 years. Can you do that? I did that.
That's just what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You pushed yourself.
certain things build character in a person. Just because you are a character doesn't mean that you have character.
Alright.
You know? Like, Brandon Hampton doesn't have character. He is a character,
Right.
but he doesn't have character. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him.
Yeah.
So, going through things in your life, putting yourself through difficult situations, that's something that builds character. And character is something that's very admirable in this line of work. If you don't have any character...
You're talking like journalism also?
Yeah, journalism and storytelling, and being in front of the camera, especially live streaming for long periods of times. If you don't have character, if you don't have substance, then you're somebody like Asian fucking Andy. Like, that's just, it's kind of like they're fish out of water, dude. And watching like Sam Pepper and Larry, the content reducer, do desktop streams, how much insight can they have? Even Ice Poseidon doing a desktop stream, trying to watch an educational video. Dude, his vocabulary is limited like to that of like a third grader. Like, there's not so much he can add or contribute. There really isn't. You know? Like, there's a reason they didn't get far in school, because they weren't able to.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Like...
Well said.
And I'm just saying you how it fucking is, dude. There's a reason those people are banned on Twitch, because Twitch doesn't want their platform full of racist degenerates.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And just substance abuse. Yeah.
So...
great priming for the show. I mean, that was really a good, introduction to the seriousness of, what we're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you look on the list of IP Live, like,
Okay.
fucking EBC shaving off his fucking eyebrows for donations. Scuff Justin Carey, I don't even need to go there, man. That's as low as a life as you can have, dude.
Well,
like, look at it. He lives on the
no.
couch of his mom's house. He's 30-something years old. His
Okay.
brother lives there, too.
Oh my
It's
God.
pathetic, dude. He's living in a white trash, like, house. It's sad.
Yeah.
Bonglings is the only one with any normalcy
Okay.
doing a camping stream. Kev, fucking father of the year, right,
Ooh.
right below him, Ski Mask Andy, a homeless guy that lives on the boulevard. I'm sorry. Like, look at these losers. I mean, like, I'm
what
sorry.
about plastic?
I already went over that idiot.
Okay, good.
Corinne, oh my God, what a disgrace. Is she gonna sue me? Hyphonics is a decent dude, but what was his show tonight? Acting like he's a woman in drag? Come on. Burger Planet.
Oh my
Can you
God.
find a worse human being? Oh, right below him, Sam Pepper. Like, even Sam Pepper's girlfriend calls him a creep and a pedo, basically. When they were walking through that furniture store,
Oh my God.
Sam Pepper's like, I want to see the children's rooms.
What?
And then his
What do you
girlfriend's
mean?
like, Sam, that's creepy. And then they
No.
walked past like a teenager's room. He's like, no, younger. You know? And then I'm like, what the fuck? And then I stopped on his desktop stream today. He's literally he was doing a desktop stream today.
Yeah.
He's literally talking to underage kids without their parents' permission
Oh, that's not good.
on his fucking live stream. What, is
Yeah.
that his shtick? Like, I'm the creepy English guy who tries to groom underage women, Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, like, this is who I'm up against? Like, anybody that watching or donating to any of these streamers, you need to unsubscribe to them. And follow me and JR, because you'll get further in life that way.
Yeah, we're actually investigating things. We're investigating, issues. And doing analysis. Like, how many of these people actually talk about all the other, like Greg does? He does, like, actual IRL analysis. Yeah?
So, are you about ready?
Yeah.
Turn on.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna, JR's getting ready for his lesson here. Hey, what's up, Adam Smith?
Oh, Adam Smith.
He donated to Burger once to warn his victims. Like, what is he doing, that guy? Like, he really thinks, like, oh my goodness gracious. These, a lot of people in IRL are just fucking delusional.
Yeah.
Like SJC, EVZ,
Right.
Larry the content reducer. Yeah.
Tell him, Greg.
Like, come on, they're fucking ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm selling books here, you know, and I'm working on my second book and my third book. Like, they're like, I'm a streamer. That's what I do. Give me money. Come on, guys. You know, that's Burger's stick. That's SJC's stick. That's Mexican Andy's stick. Like, send me money. That's my content. I'll go places and send me money. I'll go in public. Asian Andy. I'll go in public and blast racist stuff, or I'll pick up undocumented workers and drive them in my car while blasting Trump, build the wall. You know. Like, oh yeah, that's really clever and deep. You know, like, fuck Shakespeare. You know, we got Asian Andy blasting the fucking N-word. Like, and these guys think that they can talk smack to me. They're not even on the same level or anything, dude. Like, I've always admitted, like, oh, I made a mistake getting into live streaming through the CX universe.
Right.
Even saying CX is cringe now. You guys notice that? CX in the chat. Yeah, fuck that. You know? It's notorious for bad shit.
Right.
You know?
Oh, great breakdown, man.
So, like, like watching like Ice Poseidon streams, his ego is still huge as fuck, you know? His ego is still like, oh, I'm so important. Like, even like I skim through his stream, even like the jargon, like, all he does is like talk about streaming and streaming this and streaming that and streaming that.
Right.
And streamer, like IRL, you know? Like, he has nothing, dude. He started streaming when he was a brace-faced high school kid, and he thinks he had one fucking restaurant job where he lies and says he was a manager. He had one restaurant job, and so he's so knowledgeable about life. Fuck that, dude. I've had hundreds of those jobs. I've lived on the street. I've lived in mansions. I've known like thousands of people. Like, I do, and JR as well.
Yeah.
Like, we do have knowledge about the world, knowledge about life.
We have exposure to businesses
and that's why our vocabulary is much more greater than his as well.
Yeah, we're able to communicate. Remember when I was there? Like, yeah. he couldn't even his effort was actually to put me down, and he was like, oh, your websites aren't, you know, one of them's not completely built. Like, he didn't even directly respond to any of my website. All he attempted to, like, he didn't even understand any of it.
Yeah, and how long is that gonna last? It's not sustainable. His personality, his lack of intelligence, that always catches up to somebody. And you see it now with the fucking dying streamers as it is. Yeah. They were relying on their bills being paid by the generosity of other people. If you want something done right, you do it yourself. Yeah. If you want to have your bills paid on time, you make sure you fucking pay them. You don't fucking rely on other people's generosity.
Random.
You see some of these streamers were doing, and now they're like fish out of water. So fuck them. Right. You know, like, I hope they drown, which they will. Right. You know, they don't got shit to fall back on. They're from fucking poor or lower middle class families. You know.
And they're not nice people.
Yeah, and
that's the big thing. Like, they're not even worth.
Like, what's EBZ gonna be doing in 10 years? Still trying to make it as a rapper when he's 50? Like, come on, bro.
And be a rude driver.
Yeah, be a rude driver. 10 years from now, I'll be finished with my second book, my third book. I'll be, you know, that's something that's sustainable for somebody of that age. You know, rap star. You know, you should have like looked into maybe working on an education. Like, that's what I did. I spent 7 years in school working on my education, knowing that I was going to be in this point. And instead of going the rap star route, I went to the fallback of, okay, you know, I'm a talented storyteller, I'm a good writer, I can get a degree in journalism, and that's something that I can always use to my advantage in life.
Exactly.
You know, so that's what a fallback is, boys and girls.
Yeah. I mean, like look at like EBZ. To my knowledge, he doesn't work very well with people, and if anything, he could potentially teach people to rap, but he doesn't seem to have the humility to do something like that.
Yeah, you have to have humility in life, you know. Like, yeah, that's something that maybe he could do is teach people how to rap, but you're right, he doesn't have any humility.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like what about Corinne? Where are you gonna be at in 10 years, Corinne? Like, seriously, you're gonna be of like elderly.
Doesn't she has a journalism degree too, or something?
Well, she's not a journalist though. She has no respect, and like, she's like gotta be like 50 years old. In 10 years, she's gonna be 60, still trying to act like she's 20.
Ooh.
Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like, get off your horse, dude.
Ooh. Dude, you're really roast. This is like
I've donated EVZ, Paul, and Blade. Well, every penny that you've donated, Cody, you should contribute to this man instead. Because look at Blade's stream. You know, he doesn't even have a webcam. It's fucking sad, dude. Like that Kev guy, he was hanging out with Mexican Andy yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, Mexican Andy, I'm gonna start doing desktop streams, OBS." Like he wanted to sound cool or something, or hip. He's like, OBS. Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, dude, you know what program to do live, you know.
Right.
Like, goddamn, man, what fucking pieces of garbage.
Right.
Seriously, I mean, that's why you want to be with Twitch, because Twitch is not a piece of garbage. YouTube, there's some garbage on YouTube, you know.
Yeah.
There's some toxic, disgusting people, and you know, Twitch, you know, being family friendly and having a structured environment, it's not such a bad thing at times.
Yeah, and you know what these people haven't realized is that the robots are starting to create everything that we need, guys. Our food. I did want to review one video. It was by this production on YouTube called Alux, and they do top 10 jobs that are going to be taken out. And
I like Alux.
The whole point of UBI is in response to that, guys. It's not just a random thing to try to, you know, acquire money. It's a response to the future of how the world's going to be.
Yeah, there was something other besides truck driving jobs that are going to go away. Well, fast food jobs, truck driving jobs, all the malls are closing. What's something else that can be automated? Operators can be automated. They're getting way better at that. You know, the Amazon, Alexa, and Siri, those are the first generation of AI that we talk to. So think what the second and third generation is going to be like. It's going to be way more advanced. We're not going to have to ask for the same song over and over. You can have a full conversation back and forth. And we're getting to the singularity, which is when computers become smarter than humans, and computers start developing the next generation of computers, which is going to make them come out exponentially. So it's going to be like a snap of the fingers. Once we cross that line where the computer brain can learn on itself, the singularity, it's just going to be a fast track for the human race, as long as we're not enslaved by it.
It'll do data analysis on how to make life better and improve efficiency from it. Like for example, like resource-based economy, exactly what an economy can sustain, how many people it can have, what's the easiest way to produce energy, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and so that's going to happen within like the next 10 or 20 years.
Right.
They may conquer aging, they may conquer death, a lot of things.
Right.
You look at our pets now, you know, one of my biggest expenses is cat food.
Okay.
And
for your two cats or for the other cats? Like
other cats.
Is it mainly your two cats?
And cat litter too.
Okay.
But the pets in the future, 100 years from now, they'll be able to make a cat indistinguishable from a robot cat that you don't need to feed, that doesn't use the bathroom.
You mean that could be a real comfort?
Yeah, that's indistinguishable from a real cat. You
I
wouldn't.
mean, I would like that. Do you?
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Would you,
that freaks me out, really.
Would you like that?
And the cat would never die as well. Seriously, it could live forever, and that's fucking freaky. So when I'm
do you like that or you don't like that?
I don't know. I don't have an opinion. It is what it is. But like,
Okay.
I can see if I make it to 100 years old, I'll be like,
Yeah.
back in my day, we had animals that pooped. And that game came.
And we had to pick up
You
this shit.
had to clean up this shit. Really? You clean it up? Where did you put it? I put it in the trash can every day. That's unbelievable, Grandpa.
Come on, chat. It's showtime, man. It's showtime.
So, like I said, I don't know
Good
where everybody
breakdown.
is. They're pissed that I haven't been streaming in this comments.
Okay. Oh, no big deal, man. No big deal.
I see Corinne, she's usually live on Twitch and then live on YouTube at the same time.
Really?
But even her 50-year-old ass has understood that
Hmm.
you need Twitch to go places.
Right.
But yeah.
Good stuff. That's what I'm playing walk. All right.
All right. Good comments. Good comments, guys.
Nice.
It's probably
Hmm. Hmm.
it's probably Bjorn. Look at Bjorn. He just tweeted out.
What?
He's commenting on a video from the 1990 or the 2009 MTV Movie Awards
Oh my God.
from 10 years ago. Bjorn's like, poor Eminem, never seen him so angry before. Like, dude, this is a video from 10 years ago, Bjorn.
Asshole.
It's an MTV video from 10 fucking years ago, dude.
Dumbass.
You just call Bjorn a dumbass? No, I'm just kidding, but still, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that there's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of like he's trying to be hip or something.
Okay. Okay.
Is the reason that I'm calling him out on that.
Okay.
Like, if I commented on that video, I wouldn't, like, be trying to be hip.
Okay. Yeah, you'd be like realistic.
Yeah, it would be like, hey, I'm watching this video from 10 years ago. But yeah, guys, I had to get all that shit off my chest.
That's good. That's really good.
Oh, former girlfriend.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm gonna switch over.
We're gonna have me do a discussion. Talk to the chat.
And while I continue to work on I'm gonna continue to work on my video.
Right.
I'll give you guys a clue. It has to do with Jordan Peterson.
Good.
Yeah. So if you clip that, what I've just been going off on that tangent. That then was the scripted. That was just me talking off the cusp. The haters in the chat, they can't do that. They don't have a vocabulary like I do. They're not as intelligent as I am. They can't use that part of the brain like I can. So if you're talking smack, then
Yeah, because
that's all you are. Dirt.
Their rationale is just like they're just calling you names. Like they're just resorting to name calling instead of actual counter arguments.
What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clip this myself. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, hopefully, I'll just upload the stream on YouTube.
Really?
we're not listening to any copyrighted music or anything, so it should be fine.
Dude, that would be great. Because that was an awesome breakdown, Greg. I mean,
Yeah, that wasn't very good breaking shit down. I was explaining things like how I'm not sitting on my ass. I was explaining the feature with streaming.
Well, you're just trying to give it like a complete perspective on IRL.
And what's going on at the moment, yeah. And like how you want to be careful like what kind of streamers you watch, really, because certain ones, they're not going anywhere. So.
Yeah.
Alright, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to continue working on my Jordan Peterson video. And right now I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. John Remus. And we will, he's going to give you guys a lesson on
Economics. Social society.
Okay.
Awesome.
So however you want to set
Over
it up.
here, I'm gonna just set it up. Set it up right on the couch. Actually, that'd be nice, so I can sit. Here.
Over? Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. There we go. Alright, so it looks like I can see the chat there. If I run into any issues, I can just come over here, but...
Okay.
Alright, thank you, Greg. So this should be fun.
Okay, good job.
Gonna do a good discussion here. Alright guys, aloha. We have some goofy characters in the chat. It's good to see Cody. Greetings, Afro. Greetings, Gregory.
Wow, everybody's coming out now. They were scared to say anything when I was there.
So today I'm gonna break down everything I know about and my associated opinions regarding the political and social issues happening both within America and abroad, and what I would call my long-term solutions, like what would be in an ideal or optimal world structure, and my quick solutions, like immediate, readily implementable concepts. Okay, so, and I will make efforts to entertain any discussions that the chat that are related topics that the chat brings up. Obviously, Cody, you're here, you're engaged, you are also moderating problematic issues in the chat, and let's do this, guys. I think I want to start off with. I said I wasn't going to listen to videos, but I think this is. Actually, I have two videos that are relevant. One that's from this producer Alux, quote unquote, on YouTube. 10 jobs that'll no longer be relevant in this day and age. And then this guy Jeremiah Babe, he does he does oh fuck. All right. Please stay focused on the chat. Whoever that person is, female, please be attentive to to the topic at hand. The future, when Greg's channel reactivates, Mr. G's channel reactivates. I may do some things, raps and things, but for now, I don't even know what Keynesian economics are, Coach, but perhaps you can give me either a 1 or 2 sentence summarization, or I'll address that later.
Coach is a new viewer. He's a good guy.
Okay, good. It's good to see you, Coach. In any case, we will.
I'm gonna eat some of this pasta. Okay.
Oh yeah, of course. We will be reviewing those 2 videos, and then we'll get into. I've got pages of notes and dialogues such as
I'd say take advantage of the whiteboard too.
And yeah, I'm gonna be drawing out some of the ideas so that we're structured and coordinated. Female, please, if there's any need to
Yeah, female.
communicate any concerns, they could be done via my email address.
You
Please.
heard him, female. No more funny stuff.
I swear to God, this is that lady who never maintained email contact with me. She and now and whenever for some reason on the chat she comes up like, dude, come on, let's be civilized and kind.
So there's a history there.
Yeah, we there was a little email, but then there's nothing. So it's all a game that he or she is playing, and it's fucking probably a he, because I guess women are this smart, but fucking what woman?
We do
What
attract
woman?
A lot of women viewers, so it's okay.
And that's great. I do think women are smart, but guess what? No smart woman be wasting her time playing fucking games with me, on a fucking live stream on the internet. You know what I mean? All right. So in any case, guys, sorry you had to deal with the side commentary there. Let's start off with a video. I'm gonna pause and play it, and I'll be taking a little notes as needed. Thank you, Coach, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna pull up a video. It's called it's called. It's called what is this called? It's called. I want to do the first one. I want to do is ALUX top 10 jobs, and this is in direct reference to the whole idea of universal basic income, because initially I thought about it as it's. I don't have a Robin Hood complex, and I don't want to take money from the rich and then give it to the poor. But what I'm realizing now is that there's in order to make society stable, you have to and yet maintain our freedoms. You have to. I wouldn't say tax the rich more than the poor. I think everyone should have an equal tax percentile in whatever tax bracket, income level they're existing in, but something has to change in order to ensure that people will not continue to be born in poverty. Like maybe if somebody doesn't have children and doesn't do drugs until the age of 21, then they get like a $2,000 or whatever $5,000 bonus from the government. So just thinking about that, and we don't know if
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea, right?
Yeah, that they don't have kids by the time they're 21 or 25 or whatever. They get a bonus from the government.
They get a real financial, like a real money, not like they get some type of credit for school, which may also be good, but maybe they want to dedicate towards a business, or just have it be a money is significant in the sense that it allows people to have that basic security that, okay, I don't have to do a certain job they don't want to, and I can and I can protect myself, and I don't have to deal with ugly, problematic people. That's what money does, okay, guys. Yeah. So that's the power of money, the good power. But obviously, the darkness of it is it might give you the illusion that you can isolate yourself if you have riches, and you don't have to worry about the world. But guess what? What happens in our future reincarnations and so on and so forth? We have to take into account the reality of people the animal psyche. Like, I'll give you a good example. When a person has a lot of money, then they might immediately get distracted away from maybe some goals or ideals they have, and immediately want to start a family and everything. And maybe the world doesn't need more children. Maybe in order, really what it is it's a question of what your goals are. My goal, for example, is world peace. For me, that's more important than anything. More important than intimacy with my future dream mate. More important than raising a family. And I would be more inclined to consider you seriously if your username was more standardized or formal. But let's get into it, guys. Before I keep going on, because I always have things to express, I am wanting to thank you, Cody, for the reassuring Mr. Oh My. What I'd like to do is just go ahead and go ALUX, top 10 jobs, 15 jobs, 15 jobs become, that will disappear. Alright, so I have, this is, occasionally I'll buy something pricey. I actually paid retail for this. This is a Mega Boom speaker. I paid $300 for it, and probably could have bought one for half the price online on eBay, resold. But sometimes I like to support a brand that I respect and the manufacturer. And there's actually a lot of psychology to that. Like, to what extent should you support somebody? If you are a fan of a certain brand, but they already have a lot of customership, then do you need to support them? If there's an artist, if they're not so famous and you listen to their music, then should you be more inclined to contribute monetarily to them? Or if they're a well-established artist, then perhaps you don't need to. Perhaps you can consume their content freely because they're okay. These are things I think about. But let's get right into this here. Make sure I'm tapped in. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So yeah, all things considered, I'm doing this show. I'm on Mr.G's channel. But I'm also looking at any commentary. I'm not just, speaking as if, no one's around or anything. I'm thinking about you guys. So please comment.
15 jobs that will disappear in the next.
Shit. That was a little loud. Okay. All right. So.
Where future billionaires come to get inspired.
So yeah, 15 jobs that will disappear.
I know that for some, the future is incredibly exciting, filled with new technologies and new opportunities. But for some others, the future doesn't look as bright, and we want to raise some concerns with you guys. A study at Oxford University found out that 45% of all current jobs will disappear in the next 10 years, with some of them being completely automated or at least upgraded to a point where a fraction.
And I also want to question what constitutes a job. Does it mean something that you're willing to pay somebody else for? Does it mean something that you believe in and you do whether or not you were paid for? Does it mean something just that two people agree on and then it's considered a fair trade? Does it mean the person should have paid you more but you did it because you were in a desperate position? See, these are the dynamics of supply and demand. supply of whether it's goods or services or whatever consumable product, goods and products and food. Um, and then another element to be considering is the idea of, well, is this something that society really needs in order to flourish, or at least be comfortable, or is it more of an amenity or luxury? So, or is it like a more of an abstract thing that if society was really stable, maybe it could focus on, like, for example, Greenpeace efforts or scientific endeavors, or things like with endangered species. And by the way, I don't, some endangered species, I don't think the world needs, like sharks or wolves and stuff. Predatory animals that just are, could even hurt humans. I question all of that. But nice GX boost, by the way, guys. It's enjoying it. But let's see what this video describes here. You ready, guys? Here we go.
Workforce is needed. So, this will greatly impact the way you plan for your future as the environment is changing. In this video, we'll go through just some of the jobs that will radically change in the upcoming decade and the years that follow. If you're currently working in either of these industries, it might be a smart call to look for alternatives. Don't say we didn't warn you. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at alogs. With that said, here are 15 jobs that will probably disappear or be automated in the next 10 to 20 years. Number 1, drivers. Let me put it this way. If your job consists of driving any type of machinery, automobile or vehicle, you're gonna be out of a job soon. Taxi drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers, Uber drivers, and delivery drivers are all on the verge of complete automation. In the US alone, there are 15.5 million trucks and 2 million tractor trailers on the road, with the trucking industry employing 14 million people, out of which 10 million are drivers. These are the people who are going to be pushed out first, because a self-driving truck doesn't need to stop for rest, is attentive to the road 24/7, and we already have the technology. Believe it or not, this is already backed by the government in Germany, and they're betting hard on self-driving trucks. If you've watched our Tesla video, you know that the next generation of Tesla cars will be 100% autonomous. Elon Musk himself agrees that it will take us 1 to 2 years to get the tech right, and then 3 more to get the government to approve it. All major car manufacturers are headed towards electric and self-driving cars, and those who won't will be left behind. In the near future, riding in a car will be like getting in an elevator. You just press a button and it takes you to wherever you want to go. Now, what's going to happen to the estimated 20 million to have their livelihoods based on being active drivers? These people will need to reinvent themselves multiple times in a row. This might be easy if you're currently 20 to 30 years old, but what will a 50-plus-year-old taxi driver be able to readapt to? Not sure what these people will be able to do to switch from taxi driving to 3D modeling for virtual worlds, but we'll see. Number 2, farmers. Farming was huge when it came to employment numbers back in the day. This has changed dramatically, though. You might still see farming as human labor and...
Okay, so thank you for expressing yourself, Boober. So here's the question, guys. When everyone's basic needs are met, you probably are going to have a governmental structure that ensures that, I mean, it's a little complicated because people still have to pay for the robots that build things, but there is going to have to be a sort of oversight that ensures that people are not overcharging for products that, a robot is producing. Like, for example, let's say the government owned a fleet of robots that did the whole process of harvesting and grain and making it into cereal, or like I like to consume oatmeal, okay? Let's say the government did that. and it could provide enough food for everyone, like inexpensive foods like beans and rice and maybe some vegetables, whatever. But that there was like a government owned, like how much food would it produce? Would they produce? Would they produce as much as possible? Would people have more children because there was more food available? These are all things to think about, guys, in consideration of this subject. Let's see what you see. The next one is farmers here.
In the underdeveloped parts of the world. But on a macro level, this has already been automated, with very few specially trained individuals that operate heavy machinery from the comforts of the office via wireless connections. Back in the day, you needed to physically measure your plot of land, needed human labor to weed it out, and another set of people to harvest and transport the end product to where it's needed. Now we measure things with drones or satellite imagery. The soil is already treated against weeds, or the seeds are weed resistant to begin with. Harvesting and planting can be done in a small fraction of the time it used to, thanks to specialized hardware, and the trucks carrying out will be self-driving really soon. Bearing the title of farmer in the near future will be as highly ranked as banker or hedge fund manager, since there'll only be a handful of people having the oligopoly when it comes to what you eat. If this sounds ridiculous to you, that only a few people will be in charge of our food, you're already too late to the table. Today,
Well, keep in mind, guys, that there's different types of food. All food is not the same. Some food is processed and is not healthy. Other food is simpler ingredients. Like I was just saying, beans, rice, pasta, oatmeal, and then other accompanying foods like vegetables and things that are actually relatively low cost, Boober, yeah, oatmeal is actually a very simple and healthy food. And Cody, I like that you're talking about the flexing is automated. Ice Poseidon, sorry that you were upset by something. It would be my hope that you could find some common ground with me and work on the subject at hand, and maybe then I'd be willing to listen to you if you have some other commentary. I like to provide balanced critique. Like if I'm going to say something unfavorable about someone, I'm also going to back it up by saying positive things that I also agree, because I think in general there are both opinions in favor and in disapproval. Continuing on though.
companies control almost every large food and beverage brand in the world. Anything you eat probably comes from one of them. These companies: Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Danone, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars, Associated British Foods, and Mondelez. Welcome to the future, Aluxers. Number 3. Printers and publishers. The newspaper is dead. Traditional media is suffering as the internet is eating up everything. You no longer need to get your news from the papers. You get them via Twitter or live streams as they're happening.
And that's, as we know, a significant thing. Certain years ago, it was costly to operate TV, be on TV, operate a TV channel, station, radio station, newspaper printing. All of that's costly, and so is printing stuff like, shall we say, banners for politicians. And by the way, politicians, on a side note, I feel should really just be individuals who are wealthy enough to volunteer and offer their services for the period of time that to 4 years and these people would be less prone to corruption because they're rich enough to say, you know what, I want to do something for this country, and I don't want to ever even give people the hint that there's a potential exists for me to be corrupt and just take money in order to not express my highest truth. And by the way, a politician in leadership positions, their job is not to tell the country what to do. Their job is to get people to agree on one thing, which should be voting for issues, which should be respecting others' right to vote, freedom of expression, and freedom of religion, and etc. I don't know what ranked choice means either, Coach. But let's see. We're at number 3 here. Printers and publishers. Okay. Let's see what else we got here.
Magazines are fighting for their lives not to survive one versus the other, but to survive as a whole. If you've watched our video on Forbes magazine, you know that despite having such a strong brand, they're on the verge of collapse, despite their massive push into digital media. Information is free, and there are very few publishers where the trust in the brand is enough to keep the motors going. A great example is the New York Times, one of the only publications who have successfully implemented a paywall for readers to consume their written content. Can you imagine if we would implement a paywall on alux.com where you guys had to pay $1 to find out what the most expensive car in the world is? We'd be out of business quicker than you can say luxury. With the democratization of
But keep in mind that they do make money off of advertising, Alux does. So, in a way, but that's what's nice about YouTube. It's the kind of TV for everyone. Everyone gets Facebook. Everyone gets a chance to be their own celebrity and create their own image and really, truly be independent.
Big brands are struggling to find their place in this online-first environment. Unless you're in your 50s or more, you're unlikely to get your news from TV networks. While Trump is watching Fox News, we're here backing Philip DeFranco's Patreon on YouTube. Number 4, cashiers. America alone has 8 million people working as cashiers.
So I think you guys are getting the gist here. It's not about not liking certain people or certain jobs. It's about what can we honestly make a robot do so that we can do other things. So and another example would be things like optometrists, dentists, other doctors, a lot of the psychologists. People can self-treat themselves with research, buying the medications needed, or even better yet, healthier, natural alternatives as possible. Obviously, we'll need emergency doctors, people to fill cavities, maybe do certain surgeries if a bone is broken to properly set it, people to help during childbirth, different things. But as a general rule, a lot of things can be taken care of by the individual and should.
And in-store salespeople. These people are going to be out of a job sooner than they think. I know you've seen the self-checkout stations, and they still have someone supervising them, and they're buggy now and then, but we're not far from a total takeover of the machines in this space. If you've been following what the biggest commerce giants are doing, it's easy to connect the dots. Amazon acquired Whole Foods for close to $14 billion. The same Amazon is running pilot tests with what they call Amazon Go, a corner store with 0 humans involved, where you just walk in, get what you need, and walk out, with everything you bought being automatically deducted from your credit card. Sensors are on the rise, and the tech needs to only be a little better than the human counterpart for the switch to be made. Also, the AI cashiers can go 24/7 without bringing the drama of their personal lives into the workplace.
Yeah, and as we know, guys, it is nice to have waiters and waitresses and people, cashiers, whatever. All this stuff is nice, but business is not a question about nice. Business is a question of how can we make as many robots do as many of the things we can as possible and not romanticize these jobs so that people can truly be free. Because when there's a whole bunch of robots doing things, people can more and more have their needs met so they can truly be more authentic and do things more voluntarily and not because they have to. Here's the thing, guys. When you're paying somebody to do something, then it kind of forces them to be nice. But when people do things of their free will, then it's more authentic. Like as I was just describing earlier, the idea of the politician, you're going to have a more genuine, uncorruptible politician if they can afford to do it freely. You're going to have a more honest person if they are not obligated by some type of expectations, like to be a certain, like if within biological families, a lot of times it's that, like I have this idea of people playing the role of friends, not father, son, grandfather, nephew, uncle, whatever. I feel like people can play the more egalitarian, equal roles. I describe that further more on my websites, as you know. I'm trying to stay on topic though. But thenewrelationships.com, easyworldpeace.com. But continuing on here.
Number 5. Travel agents. When's the last time you went to a travel agency to book a flight?
Okay, we get that.
It's like this. The factory of the future will only have one human and one dog. The human will be there to feed the dog, and the dog will be there to keep the human from touching the machines. Number 7. Dispatchers. I know you're probably thinking of the days when someone had to manually connect you to a different line in order to talk to someone, but an astonishingly high number of people are still working as dispatchers today. The role of the dispatcher is to coordinate the field operators, so things run smoothly for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a firefighter dispatcher, working with planes, the police, or ambulances. We already have technology that is massively outperforming you at your job, and we're now figuring out just the final touches on what is the best way to deploy that technology. Remember only 5 years ago when you had to call someone and ask for a cab? How do you ask for an Uber or a Lyft today? One algorithm making their way...
So like I was saying, guys, I think we get the picture. Bank tellers. Who else is on the list? Soldiers, because now we're going to have robots. Fast food workers. Telemarketers, because now it's pretty much people, if they're making money, they're making it on Facebook. And people might think that the internet is antisocial, but I think it's pro-social, and I'll tell you why. Because I think you can experience more authenticity than compared to somebody going up to your door and try to sell you a product. Let's in a real truthful world, people on the internet are more informed, and they're going to be more careful about being convinced or swayed into something, and do things more based upon they really believe in something, and they do research on the internet, or they see an ad about it, but it's not some guy in your face trying to force you or convince you to do something or change something. Good commentary, Boober. Star Wars. Alright, accountants and tax preparers, because all that stuff, stock traders. Now, the interesting thing, people have this dissension about the stock market and the way certain business and all this crazy stuff about inflation and, the game they play with artificially inflating the markets by the stock buybacks, where companies buy back their own shares to make it look like people are buying them, and all this crazy stuff that has to do with the monetary game. In fact, I've studied this guy. This is going to be the next video we review. Mr.G will be back.
No, I was saying like the Terminator.
That was good. Yeah, but we've got this guy talks about economics, and bottom line is, guys, we want to live in a nice world, but we're gonna have to set up the stage for it, because the world is already pretty much there. We've got all this great technology, all these robots are already in play, making life easy. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Boober says the person. That's actually pretty smart. Did you read Boober's comment? Greg,
What?
did you read Boober's comment?
No, I didn't.
Nice one says, continuing on.
They buy it for themselves, trade it between themselves, and then sell it to you at a noted.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, all this stuff that seems bizarre about how the banks operate and everything. You know what the truth is, guys, is that's what's been helped people to have investment money so they can do things and buildings be built, and huge corporations are only possible by all this banking monetary game that seems strange, and maybe we can improve it. Maybe we can make sure that the dollar doesn't keep inflating, and that we can somehow, like for example, even the printing of the dollar. I think it should, instead of saying being of a faith, denominational. It says in God we trust. It could say in independence we trust. That's my idea, my original idea. Also, it could be made of a higher quality paper. But it takes money to print the money. Even I don't think very much though. I think there's something special about money and currency, and I'm not a fan of a borderless and single currency world. I feel like that would further concentrate the power into the hands of a small amount of people, whoever were the in leadership positions, or whoever had the most money, would have the most leverage, whatever. In any case, it's all about responsibility and habits and being financially prudent, respecting your money, getting excited about saving, getting excited about getting good deals, getting excited about being smart with your money. And it's not about how many dollars that you have or make per hour or whatever. It's about the principle of the percentages of what you do with your money. So if you make $1,000 in a month, then the percentages of what you do with it for your living needs and whatever, even whether you make $10,000 or whatever dollars a month, it's the percentage of how much you do for charity, blah blah blah. By the way, I don't think everyone can afford to be charitable. It's another thought to consider. I'm gonna finish up this Alux video here, and then I've got an interesting video on this guy Jeremiah Babe, who forewarns people about potential political dangers. And you always have to have a grain of salt with these people, because sometimes, whether it's on YouTube or CNN or Fox, whatever, MSNBC, the subject matter may be over dramatized. Did you hear what I said? Over dramatized. I meant over dramatized and blown out of proportion of what it really is, just for the value of selling the news. So that's always something that should be in the back of your minds, guys, when you're watching. You're watching, listening to people. What are the ulterior motives? Are they trying to make money? That's why it's kind of cool when somebody, like for example me or different people on YouTube, they pretty much have their own source of income. Like I do labor and assistance work, and I do this show, I appear on Mr.G's show, free, pretty much free of, not expecting any monetary, to be presented to me, and I'm just expressing myself. And admittedly, it's not entirely free, because we do pay for the Wi-Fi and whatnot, we have it also costs you the time to listen and me to express, but I try to see what the commentary is doing. And oh, come on, Seized with the glasses. Oh, wait, did I? No, I didn't upload that video yet. So what glasses are you referring to? Alright, let's finish up this last video here, though. 15 jobs disappearing. And oh my god. Good one, Cease. I see what you mean. Good one. Thank you for the humor. We'll finish this video up, and then we're gonna watch this other cool one, Jeremiah Babe, and then we're gonna blast through my notes. Okay, I got some notes too. Yeah. All right.
Bigger price. Welcome to the world of micro trading, where bots always win. You're not gonna beat the market. Number 15, construction workers. Back here on Earth, where people actually use their hands and backs to make things happen, the story looks a lot like what we've been saying through this video. Although the numbers are not clear, there are at least 200 million people working in construction around the world, and with developing countries wanting to expand, you'd expect the number to be on the rise. Well, it isn't, and that's because technology is getting more and more efficient and affordable. Developers now need more machines and a slightly more specialized workforce to use said machines to build. As technology progresses, we can see that construction workers will follow the same path as those who used to work in the farming industry in the past. Unless you're the owner of the enterprise or one of those specialized employees who are further down the line of automation, the future doesn't seem like a welcoming place for you. That's why we wanted to make this video for you. We know most of you are young, but making a bet on these industries in the traditional sense might not be the big payoff you're expecting. Most of you have family that are likely to be impacted by these changes, so make sure you bring up automation next time you're hanging out with your loved ones. As always, our videos are not prophecies, but conversations we want to start with you guys. What other jobs do you think will disappear due to automation? Let us know in the comments. We want
So yeah, that was a pretty fun video. Oh, they're gonna have a bonus one.
what your take on this is. And since you're still here, we want to reward you with an extra industry that is seeing massive disruption right now, and not many people are talking about it. Number 16, movie stars. You'd expect people from the creative end of the spectrum to be safe from automation, but you'd be wrong. Human actors are really, really expensive, and as most humans, their lives have ups and downs. When you're investing a couple $100 million in a production, or even more, you wouldn't want that project to be influenced by a particular individual. More and more blockbusters are animations, because those characters do not age, do not complain, and can be easily monetized. What about big movies? Let's take any Iron Man movie. Robert Downey Jr. is less on screen than his CGI counterpart. Soon enough, actors will sell a 3D rendering of their persona to big tech companies, and there'll be no need for them to show up on set. They will just generate them in the scene. Mind-blowing.
Well, I disagree. If they actually did that, then I probably wouldn't want to watch the movie, because the movie is about the human experience of a digitalized version of theater. But yet with the whole premise and auspices, under the auspices of all these people are doing, they're doing a production, and they've got cameras, lights, camera, action, and they're doing scenes, and the actors and the actresses, and we celebrate them at the Grammys, and it's a human element that's never going to be replaced. All right. So that considered, I think we're ready for our next video, guys. This one is called Jeremiah Babe. Okay. And
Maybe for the next video, you should write on the board.
oh yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
Because there's no really visuals for that video.
Hey there, XA1, greetings, and 8:30, where I'm doing a general discussion review on the future of the nation and economics and jobs and society. Parco, very nice, guys. Very good commentary to boost one another up. Alright, let's do this. Alright, so, yeah, one Ted, you missed, I just did a cool breakdown on 15 jobs which will experience obsolescence in the near future. And now we're going into this next one, and I'm gonna make use of the board here. I'm gonna try and write some things down. But guess what? First, I'll do a little summarization of the previous video on the board, so that we have a clear concept of what we're dealing with here. What truck was running? Bids. I just study and express things, and I can appreciate that you're curious as to what my knowledge base is. I just study YouTube and contemplate these matters, and hey, guess what? Maybe it's an invitation for you if you have something to share specifically. But of course, negative feedback doesn't really serve a purpose. If you don't like me or you don't like the subject matter, then it would be, I'd say, in your interest to just find another channel which you find some, so get some value out of. So in any case, I'm going to do a brief breakdown of what I just talked about, these 15 jobs. I'm going to do that on the board here, and then I'm going to proceed to discuss this guy. His name is Jeremiah Babe, and he's kind of a I think he's a well-spoken guy. Border wall. Bids, I'm 100% for borders. I'm big on borders. I'm displeased with the idea that the U.S. military is engaged in operations beyond our nation's confines, and yet we have an inability to ensure absolutely who the hell goes in and out of our country or not. That is what the Constitution is intended the military for, first and foremost. All right. Continuing on, I'm going to break down this here. All right, guys. So here's what we're dealing with. All right. We're dealing with jobs that are no longer going to be in play. Robots. Alright, making life easy, just like they did throughout the course of the farming, right? The whole farming existence. Now the machines make our crops, making life easy. Okay.
Looks good, JR. Looks good, John.
Looks good?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, always call me JR on the show, you know what I mean? I just,
Okay, yeah.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so robots, that's the big theme, and the other big theme is, if the robots are already built, who pays for the robots? Pays for robots. Okay, that's an issue. Another issue is, which jobs do we want that we really want humans to do, like acting and entertainment? Which jobs do we want humans to do? Maybe not cashiers or waiters, but maybe not tax accountants, maybe not want people. What we really want, guys, in a perfect world, okay? We are all artists. Robots take care of everything, and we are able to express art to one another, and we're able to live in such a society that values independence, okay, and that values what should I say? Should I say intelligence? Values, like like in a society, like, here's the thing, guys. Like, what separates, like, if in theory robots and a lot of that's taking care of our basic needs, and what actually happens? There's more time for fun and recreation, but will people take advantage of that? Will they have too many children? Like, how do you govern who gets to have children, for example? And I would argue that we want society to become better genetically, both with more appealing physical and mental traits. And so if we look at the world as a collective group of people, then we could say, okay, we could play God. We could say, okay, we want these people to have children. And we could also, it could be like a village mentality where one person cooks for 100. A village mentality where, or the robots can cook for 100 or whatever. And then one person can teach 20 and babysit, a number of kids, 10 kids, whatever. So that way, it's a more efficient way of living that allows for less stress. All right. So that's something to consider. Village mentality. But the subject here is on jobs that will be no longer. And it's not that they won't be no longer. It's just that computers and robot technology will do them instead of human beings' mental and physical efforts. Right? So, I'm going to check the commentary, guys. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, bids. I'm just expressing myself. Thank you, Ted. So, a society that makes itself dependent on a robot loves independence. Void. The assumption is that the neighbors are behaving. The assumption is that robots will be like computers and they won't have a mind of their own. Robotjobs.com, that's funny. How do I apply for the cook for the robots? Very good, guys, very good. Alright, so good push, good emoticons, and continuing on, shall we? I think I expressed myself sufficiently to the extent that I can continue on to my next video, dare I say. So, it's called Jeremiah Babe. This guy's an economic kind of discussions guy. He says, the end is really near, exclamation point. The economy let's see here. Let me make sure this is the right video.
While I have the time, Dow Jones down.
Yeah, this is the right video. I think this guy is quite a smart guy. This particular video only has around 1,000 views. I really think it's one of his best and most concise representations of the issues that he describes, some of which I really do agree with. Coach, pace yourself. Alright, that's it. Don't make me play another video here. Don't make me do it, guys. I will do it.
It's iPhone season at Sprint.
Switching at
The new iPhone 11 or iPhone 11 Pro with amazing
Greg, so what's the deal? If I play any music, you can't upload the VOD? Can you be precise? Like, just give me be over conservative here. I want this VOD I want this VOD to be uploaded.
Okay, well then just search, if you want to play music, then just go with copyright. Search for copyright free music.
Okay,
But YouTube has a lot of copyright music.
does it really?
Or classical music is also copyright.
Right, because it's past its 99-year restriction, right?
Yeah, like Beethoven and Mozart.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a musical break. Thank you. Alright, so, let's see here. Vivaldi.
This is the family who wanted to connect and find inspiration in new places.
Alright. Now, I want to take you guys back for a second to perhaps the time and place that music like this was being produced. This is Vivaldi. And this is a group of people that were playing music hundreds of years ago in Europe, right? And things were industrial revolution. You know, they were seeing the ability of perhaps oil, like trains, producing basic metal things like maybe simplistic cars and boats and trains, and there was this ongoing transition from, oh, we've got to toil on the farm and live out this existence, to we've got something more, ladies and gentlemen of society. We're about to experience a quality of life that only the richest people have been able to afford. Greetings, Arrow, but please, I don't approve of your suggestive commentary. Please keep it clean. So, I was going back hundreds of years, you know, before we really had fully operational society that we do have now. We have great opportunity, but what's the point of an incredible opportunity if you don't have the richness of people being real, right? But here's the magic of the future, is people can afford to be real. Because when you have your basic needs met, okay, and when it's easy to, at least for simple stuff, maybe not fancy, expensive stuff, like in the future there's going to be lots of trains, I'm sure, lots of simple food like rice and other grain foods and different vegetables and things that robots will make. And so it'll cost a certain amount to operate these trains and robots, but it'll be smaller, even smaller than it is today to do that. And there'll always be luxuries like fancy restaurants and cars and vacations and adventures that only some people can afford. But when we think more and more in terms of this is a global family, guys, how do we integrate ourselves together? How do we mix our cultures together such that we're more homogenized and yet we're still get to do our own unique things? But the point being is that if a world more homogenized, it may seem like the opposite of the individual spirit. But the individual spirit, okay, is only possible when people are free. And it's kind of a paradox because hard work makes good character and helps you really think about things and more so value your time and money. So it's kind of hard to say. There's no one definitive answer to how to improve society and make sure the economy is stable and secure. Part of it has to do with just spending money within the country and not beyond it. It's strange. There's so many issues at play. This guy, though, I'm going to feature, okay, soon, he's going to talk about the trade war in China. I actually want to do a preview video, so I want to do what is the trade war a trade? What is the China trade war? Trade war. All right. So what's behind Trump's trade war with China? Impact of U.S.-China trade war felt in both. Let's see. Why isn't the U.S. winning the trade war? I don't think anyone should be winning. I would think that there would be some type of middle ground that could be achieved. Explaining the... Okay, here we go. Watch this, guys.
The concern that the U.S. government, the Trump administration, has about the U.S.-China trading relationship is that we buy a lot more from them than they buy from us. So after in an average year these days, the U.S. government, the U.S. United States consumers buy about $500 billion of goods from China, whereas Chinese consumers only buy about $100 billion of goods from the United States. So it's five times as much. So if you imagine an analogous situation with students trading Pokemon cards. Let's say that you have two classes of students, and they have a sort of a long series of interactions where they are trading these cards back and forth. And let's say they do this over a few months or a year. It doesn't really matter the time frame. At the end of it, though, they've totaled them all up, and one side says, "Well, wait a minute. Look at the cards we've got. They're only worth $2." Whereas the cards you've got are only worth $10. That's not fair to us. We got the short end of the stick here. And I think that the Trump administration sees the U.S.-China trade relationship kind of in the same way. Now, most economists who look at that say that's not the way to measure two countries' trading relationships. And in fact, when we buy all those Chinese goods, we benefit from that. That's one of the benefits of trade is we got access to these goods that we wanted. So they don't see the analogy. But the Trump administration is in charge of U.S. politics right now, and they see it that way. They see the fact that we only sold $100 billion, where the Chinese sold $500 billion. They see that as us losing, us getting the short end of the stick, us being in the situation of the class that only got $2 worth of Pokemon cards. Right now we have the administration of Donald Trump, and the trade team that he has put in place has been much more aggressive about trade issues in general, including those on China. So it's not just China that they are taking on.
I just wanted to pause. If one of the moderators could delete Arrow's comment, I don't like it. Thank you.
They've imposed tariffs on a variety of our trading partners. They've accused other countries of cheating as well. So what we're seeing, I think, is a general shift in...
Looks like I'll have to do it myself if I can. I don't think I can. Oh well.
Trade policy to a more aggressive approach where we challenge just about everyone, our allies, our rivals, based on the theory that we have somehow been treated unfairly by the existing rules, and we need to change those rules to treat the U.S. more fairly.
Okay, so that was, I think, a good, simple analysis. Oh, this guy, Valuetainment, he's good too.
Google and Facebook track you and save every piece of information they find, which is creepy. But not everyone is ready.
Look, there's a lot of different kind of wars that take place around the world. Some of them end up costing lives. But the one we're going to talk about...
if I feature somebody else's, that's okay, right?
As long as you're commenting on it.
Okay.
Trade war. This doesn't cost you your life.
All right, so this guy I like. He's created this show called Valuetainment. He works hard on it, and he's just a very business understanding, technical left brain guy, and I like his efforts to really work things down. He talks a lot about how to start a business, manage your money, stuff like that. By the way, managing money is easy, guys. It's all about goals. If you have a goal to buy a nice new laptop, you'll save from it. You'll not spend that random $20, which if you even spend even just $10 a day on food or things, guess what? That's $300 or more a month, right? So, savings is about goals, and it's also about liking the idea of, oh, I actually got a good deal on this. Not saying that you're declining the quality, or saying that maybe I can work more and do community volunteer work, and then I can go on a vacation maybe once a year instead of twice a year, for example. These are the other things to think about, but I want to see what Mr. Valuetainment has to say about this whole trade war. Here we go, guys.
In your job and your small business, and that is the U.S.-China.
Actually, I want to see the Jeremiah Babe one first because it's more volatile, and then I want to see this one. Actually, no, I want to see this one first because then we'll get a better perspective of, yeah.
Trade war that is taking place. Now, having said this, in this video, we're going to go a different angle. We're going to talk about 7 reasons why I believe this is taking place. We're going to talk about what Donald Trump's motivation is behind this, and who needs to, and a lot of other factors. But the one thing that we are going to talk about is a vision that the leaders of China unveiled in 2015 to their people, talking about how China will one day be the most powerful economic empire in the world by 2025, where their currency, the yuan, will be more powerful than the U.S. dollar, and a few other strategies.
And you know what? I think that's okay. I think it's great for people. It's healthy competition. The one thing we shouldn't be competing for, though, is one thing, and that is military power. Because all that means is having more destructive weapons, not just troops and general armaments to protect your country, but, you know, huge missiles and, you know, fast ships that can, you know, submarines that you can deploy these missiles and stuff. And that's total anarchy and, you know, global destruction. That's not about... It's not weapons of war. It's weapons of, you know, evil people wanting to do genocidal acts. Not weapons of war to take out strategic positions if a country's being a threat or taking out, let's say, a military base. That may be an appropriate act of war to protect the country, you know. We're talking about nuclear weapons that destroy everything. Don't compete with that. Okay, everyone should disarming, starting with the U.S. Disarm all your nuclear weapons. Okay, I mean there are citizens of every country throughout every country in the world, particularly the U.S. This is a place of opportunity and sharing that with each other and valuing that more so than wanting to. So we say change other people. Like I value more so the freedom of religion than wanting to convince people of my, or persuade them to my direction of my philosophies. That considered, let's see what's going on here.
Have in place, and the 5 ways of making that become a reality. So those are the things we're going to talk about in today's video. So before we get right into it, let's first talk about the word tariff, what it means, and why countries put a tariff on other countries to import their products in. So first, a tariff is a tax. For instance, you bring your products from China to U.S., I put a 25% tariff on this product. So if you bring $100 billion, you're going to have to pay another $25 billion on top of that $100 billion. That's the tariff. This is why you'll notice a lot of times where when people come here from Europe, they look at a Camaro and they say, oh my gosh, that's such a luxury car. It's an exotic car. Look at that. But Americans look at Camaro and they're like, it's just a Camaro you can buy for $28,000. But Europeans don't pay $28,000.
What was the noise?
Oh yeah, just some movement around here.
Pay $40,000 for it. Just like when Americans go to Europe and they say, cab drivers driving around a Mercedes. Cops have Mercedes. What is this all about? Because what a Camaro is in U.S. is exactly what a Mercedes is in Germany, right? So part of tariff is to protect the businesses in your country so the business flows through your job creators, not somebody else's, but you're willing to allow them to come in and compete. So that's a tariff. Now, trade deficit.
Okay, so you guys get that? That's the goods made in their own country will be cheaper. The Mercedes will be cheaper in Germany than the U.S. I think that's probably true, and it may also be true that the Mercedes is more expensive or just as expensive in Germany, but the German people want to promote their own economy, so they're buying cars made in-house. Okay.
It's a trade deficit. This is where a big part of this war started taking place. Let me explain to you what a trade deficit is.
And by the way, I have this idea about, you know, do we need to be more American or to support the American economy? Does one need to buy a new Ford or, you know, Cadillac or what have you, because it's made in America. And by the way, some of these vehicles aren't even made in America, so be sure if you might think you're buying a Chevrolet American made, but double check that. All right. If it's your intention to buy American made, like I intend to buy American made myself, and it's not about, hey Fallacious, hey Sango, sorry that you're not motivated or inspired by the subject matter. I'm trying to push it along. I'm gonna get the excitement going, but like it doesn't matter how much you can afford. Just thanks, Fallacious. It's about, like, I order my contact lenses. I want to order them from an American company. Not because I'm biased against other countries, but because our economy seems to be having hard times right now. And if our economy was really strong, I might say, oh, I want to help out the economy of another country. But guess what? I'm not going to do that because and it's not even about being nationalistic or, oh, America's better. No, it's about, I live in a place which is a first world country, which has a certain currency and a certain governmental and whatnot, and I want to be conscious of taking care of the places where I'm immediately in proximity to instead of far-reaching places. That the perfect metaphor is take care of the less fortunate people on where you live before sending money to faraway places. And there's a practical factor to it as well, is you don't have to see these people unhappy. It doesn't feel good to see poor people, misfortunate people. And these poor people might not try to hurt you or steal your money if you donate to them and help them out. And that's controversial too, because some poor people can't manage their money, or they might buy drugs with it. By the way, I think the government should not only legalize drugs, but should offer free drugs themselves, because that would reduce all the crime associated with the buying and selling of hard drugs. All that considered, back into the trade war here. Let's see what we got going on. Fallacious! Let's see what we got going on here. Let's push this.
U.S. trade deficit. U.S. imports $3.1 trillion in, meaning countries around the world want to do business in America, and America allows them to come in. Last year, $3.1 trillion. Now, U.S. gives other countries only $2.5 trillion. So 3.1 coming in, but only 2.5 going out. Now think about this. U.S. is only 330 million people around the world. The world has another 6.8 billion.
But there's also something else to consider, and that is, no matter how much money you make, sometimes you might spend it all. Even if you make $5,000 or more a month, guess what? You might, if you spend it all, then you still don't have financial security. You're still poor. You can be rich and only make $1,000 a month if your expenses are only $300 a month. You know what I mean? Also, he's saying that we're importing about 3.1 billion, and we're exporting only 2 trillion. We're importing 3.1 trillion a year in the U.S. We're exporting only about 2.5 trillion, and the implication being that. But what about our other people? What about people who are vacationing here, spending money here, or our entertainment industry, which I think the U.S. is, and I don't mean to be better or lesser than others, but I think we have the top entertainment industry. In a way, it's been kind of created in the U.S. The music and Hollywood and everything.
But there's the same amount business being in the U.S. and out, because everybody wants to be in America. So that creates a $600 billion deficit. Now, out of this $3.1 trillion that comes in, 539 is China, which is 17.3%. But out of our $2.5 trillion that goes out, only 120 billion is China, which is 4.8%. Meaning, China is giving us less than we are giving them. China's making more because we're allowing them to compete in America way more than we are doing in America. Somebody may say, well, it's not like they're not allowing you. They just don't have a need for you there. And you would like them to come here because of cheap labor and all this other stuff. Let me continue. The total deficit, again, 621 billion. But out of the 621, 419 is China alone, which is 67% of the deficit. 67% of the
Okay, so
President-
that pretty much has everything that we need to know right there, guys. And then he's going to furthermore explain perhaps what can be done about it. This should be interesting. Maybe, like, one of my ideas would be something like, well, maybe we could sell our cars cheaply to China, like a whole bunch of cars, and then and maybe we could literally trade them, maybe our cars, for whatever we're making for them. I mean, even going beyond spending money. See, the only problem with money, even though it's kind of cool and gives you a bit of national identity and, you know, easy to play with. I mean, I can go, you know, into my pocket, and I can start flexing some currency, you know, some billfolds, you know what I mean? I could do that if I want to, but, which is fun, but what's more exciting than that is just a simple making sure things are stable, making sure that there's enough money for everyone in the world, and people are being financially prudent, you know, and also making sure that we're also trading with each other and making things for each other and doing goods and services for each other. So that's a more spiritual aspect of it, guys. We want to be doing things for other people in the world, making things for them. And maybe it's as simple as not just paying for it and making sure it's fair trade, that the person that made the product you're using is paid fairly, but also just a thank you. And so, for example, if you watch a movie on if you go to the movies, you might want to send a letter to the creators of the movie or particular actresses and just actually celebrate them in a comment, and not beyond just whatever it may be. Continuing on here.
Sitting there saying, well, wait a minute. Why are we giving them so much money? And why are we not getting anything for this? Why are we not doing it in America? Why are we creating jobs over there? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we helping their economy? Aren't they trying to compete with us? Aren't they coming up from like nobody to now number 7, number 8, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2? They're wanting to compete with America. What is going on over here? No. Let's find out what we produce well. We export grain, wheat, corn, soybean, meat, pork, poultry, mechanical parts like chips, different kind of things. China exports electronic parts, wooden furniture, aluminum car parts, fashion accessories like the handbags, seafood. That's what we're looking at. Okay.
I want to replay that again, guys. That was important. Thank you, Acid. Push it.
Not keeping this to ourselves. Why are we helping their economy? Aren't they trying to compete with us? Aren't they coming up from like nobody to now number 7, number 8, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2? They're wanting to compete with America. What is going on over here? No. Let's find out what we produce well. We export grain, wheat, corn, soybean, meat, pork, poultry, mechanical parts like chips, different kind of things. China exports electronic parts, wooden furniture, aluminum car parts, fashion accessories like the handbags, seafood. That's what we're looking at. Okay, so that's what we export. How come we're not doing more? Why are we giving them so much money? Why are they doing so well? We're helping them. Aren't we helping them become closer to us? I don't know why this is taking place. So, what are the reasons for this trade war? Why are we doing this? What's the purpose behind it? Here's what you got to realize. Anytime you're dealing with politics, you're dealing with power. Motivation for business owners is money and freedom, and financial freedom and control. Leave me alone. But when it comes to politics,
whatever you do, guys, be sure to subscribe to this guy and promote him, his Valuetainment channel. You can see how much effort he's putting into it, and he's pretty much giving less, insights free of charge. It just costs your time to view his channel, and of course he might make money off of the ads in the video, but relatively speaking, it's really valuable information for how much? Not much. And that's something worth thinking about in the future. What are we going to do, guys? We're going to even though machines are going to take care of things and whatnot, we can have a machine paint the outside of, one of the only problems in this day and age that has to be done is, believe it or not, is just painting the outside of buildings and maintaining the roofs. But surely we can have machines to do that, and a robotic window washer to clean off skyscrapers and then re-caulk the windows as needed, stuff like that, This is some stuff I'm feeling pretty good about. I hope you guys are enjoying this exposure to this economic videos I'm sharing, and after this one I've got a more exciting one that's gonna, and then I'm gonna delve into my notes. I mean, we're pushing it here, guys. We're out here, man. We are here.
Power is key. Then it's economy, then it's politics, which is ideology. China is trying to say our ideology works because we have the kinds of people that follow what we tell them. We are leaders. We tell them what to do and they do it. America is weak leaders because their people always tell them what to do. The voters always tell them what to do. And you always know what America is doing. America, matter of fact, everyone knows their bad news because they have freedom of speech and they have freedom of press. China, we know everything America is doing. America has no clue what we're doing. We are more powerful. And America's trying to say, hey, people are better if they have a freedom of speech. Let Americans speak. Let us have freedom of press. We believe we have a better empire. There's a bit of an ideology going on there with communism and capitalism. They have obviously competition. Everybody's competing.
Okay, so that was an impressive. I mean, this video. I'm probably gonna listen to this video another 20 times. I'm really pleased with his breakdown here. I hope you guys are also enjoying it. The reasons for the trade war and why it's actually called a full-on trade war instead of just, well, these people import less than we import from them. It's more complicated than that,
Money, you got market, you got control. Now, all that being said and done, what's President Trump's motivation? Some people are saying, why did he all of a sudden start picking on China? It's not a new thing. In 2014, when President Trump wasn't President Trump, he was Donald Trump, a.k.a. Apprentice, you're fired. Here's what he tweeted in May of 2014. Remember, China is not a friend of the United States. Look at how many likes this tweet got. And it was only retweeted 345 times. You know what that means? Nobody was really paying attention to what he was saying about politics back then. But this China thing is not a new thing with President Trump. He's been thinking about this for a while. So now, what is he wanting to do? What's his motivation behind this? What is he doing? Is it the fact that he wants to keep manufacturing jobs in the U.S.? Is that what it is? Is it the fact that he wants to reduce the U.S.-China trade deficit? Maybe he wants that 419 to go lower? Is it the fact that he still wants to keep U.S. as a dominant power, doesn't want to give anybody else a shot? Maybe it's the fact that he's trying to get U.S. out of debt, because U.S. owes China $1.13 trillion of debt, and it used to be $1.3 trillion in 2013, and it's $1.13 trillion. Maybe this is a way for him to learn to get out of this debt, because he's used to eliminating debt. They used to owe $1 billion to a bank, and this is maybe his comfort zone. It's like, I'm okay with this. I can handle things like this. Maybe it's him bullying the bully. A lot of people are afraid of China. A lot of people are saying, well, I'm not going to say anything because we need them. We need them. We need them. There's only one country that maybe doesn't need China, that maybe China needs more than they need them. And he's like, well, my position, I'm going to get out and say something about this. And I'm going to bully the bully. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it is the vision that China launched back in 2015 to their people called Made in China 2025. And here's what Made in China 2025 was. Some may say this is brilliant. Some may say it's manipulative. But all I can tell you is this 100% benefits China more than anybody else. So part one of the 5-point game plan is setting explicit targets. Here's what that means. Chinese government is pressuring private companies to adjust their vision to China's 2025 vision. So saying, here's what we're doing. We would like you to do anything you do with your company to help us reach this vision as a whole. Which some may say, okay, that's cool. That's a visionary. Somebody else says, why are you pressuring us? Why are you making us do, maybe we want to do something else, but that's what China is doing. Number two, providing subsidies, $300 billion investments. This is going to be very low interest rate loans, whatever they can do to help these businesses grow. We're talking $300 billion of China's going to lend, give, invest into private companies, right? Number three is foreign investment and acquisitions. Government is encouraging companies to invest into
All right, I don't know if you guys know this, but Greg, is that true that China owns the NBA? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's over 300, there's like 500 million NBA fans in China.
No, that can't be because that would be half of the population there.
Yeah,
Look up the actual stats, and if you could, and see if China owns the business of the NBA.
they don't own it.
Hey, Renee. Thank you. Ooh, wow, that's a cool name. Oh, so you got triggered. That's a good one. What do you think, Greg?
What?
What do you think about my questions? Could you figure it out?
Well, I can't really look it up. I'm in the process of making a video.
Oh yeah, you're working on that. Okay.
But I know from recent news stories that's what they said. They said that there's more NBA fans in China.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, whatever the case is, to my knowledge, well, this other video will explain it. This guy Jeremiah Babe, Renee, I'm just doing a breakdown on these economic issues at hand, both locally and globally, and here we go.
The firms to gain access to their technology. Well, what do you mean? Well, we want you to go buy and invest into semiconductor companies in the U.S. So we find out exactly what they're doing with their technology. And you know how much they put in 2016? $45 billion into U.S. companies. And they invest in, oh, this is what they do. Let's do this in China. Oh my gosh, this is what they do. Let's do this in China. That's the third one. Point number 4 is mobilizing state-backed companies. What does that mean? State-backed, meaning companies that are owned by the government. This is kind of like, CIA investing into Facebook. I mean, imagine if that happened to America. CIA is wanting Facebook to do better because they get all the data because that's where all your information is. That's one of their game plans. And last but not least, point number 5, which is probably the one that's concerning the most people. EU's not happy about this. Central America's not happy about this. Brazil's not happy about this. Middle East is not happy. A lot of people are not happy about this. Here's what it is. Number 5, forced transfer agreement. Here's what this means. If you choose to do business in China, they are forcing you to share all your trade secrets with them. All. You're Boeing, you want to go to China, you want to do business out there, guess what, Boeing? Share all your trade secrets with us, then we're going to go design our own Boeing. That's what China is doing. And this right here got a lot of people concerned. A lot of people say, wait a minute, that's not fair. You can come and do business in our country. We don't ask you to do all this stuff. You can come do business here, but if I want to go do business in China, I have to share with you all my trade secrets? Yes, that's the game plan. Why are they doing this? Here's why. U.S. is good at, ideas and innovation. U.S. is good at free market competition. They don't mind competition. They want new companies coming out there competing with the rest of them. U.S. is good at technology. China, on the other end, they're good at cheap labor. Very cheap labor. You hear a lot of these videos and these stories about what it takes and how hard kids work and how much money they're making per day, but they're good at cheap labor. And a lot of people say, wait a minute, if I can get somebody to work with me for $5 a day, here you go. They're good at copying. You hear a lot of times, here's Nike, well, you got another one made in, China's version that says Nike or whatever it's called, but it's a similar kind of a whoosh. They're very good at copying products, right? But they're also very good at manufacturing. So it's kind of like they're good at copying, but they're good at manufacturing. So maybe we need them. Why are you doing this? Well, they find out about a product, they unpack the product, then they make the same exact product for a fifth of the price. We're not helping ourselves. What is going on over here, right? So U.S. knows this is taking place, and this is why it's leading us to who is this hurting the most. A lot of people are concerned. I think this is hurting a lot of people. Well, who's hurting it the most? Who's taking the biggest hit? We were saying other foreign relationships. Some of these tariffs that Trump imposed on other countries, immediately Brazil came out, wait a minute, that tariff you put on China is hurting us. Then Trump came out and said, okay, this tariff excludes Brazil. Then Brazil took their tariff down. U.S. put a tariff on China about certain products. Canada and Mexico came back and said, wait a minute, this is hurting us. We are threatening to put an impose to U.S. on such and such product that you import to us. Then Trump's like, okay, this tariff is only China, right? So a part of this is also hurting relationships with other countries. Number 2, it's hurting the small business owner. A lot of these small business owners are relying on buying a product for a certain price and selling it for retail to make money. Wait a minute, I'm having to pay more. I'm having to spend more. I'm not making the same kind of profits. Number 3, farmers in U.S., just between January to March, 2 months, 3 months, Farmers in the U.S. lost $11.8 billion in 3 months. Farmers. By the way, in I believe it's Illinois, Wisconsin, and Indiana, highest rate of bankruptcies in the last decade in those areas. They are taking a big hit, and obviously consumers are also taking a big hit. And you hear the whole thing. Well, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. This is why we're doing this, because we're gonna have long-term gain. No one really knows this. We are currently in the short-term pain process. We're not yet in the long-term gain process. So having said,
all right, so we've got another 5 minutes on this. Thank you, Triggered, for the comment. I'm not sure who Joey Salads is. Whatever the case is, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this. He's truly trying to explain the whole trade war, and he's doing a good job at it, all right?
A minute, Pat. What about this fact that, what if China realizes that, hey, if you want to play this game with us, don't you owe us $1.13 trillion? What if China sells their debt? What happens there? Could that affect the U.S. economy in a massive way? I mean, let's face it. China's got $1.13 trillion in T-bills, 10-year, treasury bills, treasury bonds. And the current rate, I believe, is 3.4%. And by the way, U.S. also owes Japan, I think it's 1.07 trillion, and U.S. owes Brazil 308 billion, and UK 284 billion, and Ireland 274 billion. What do we do? What if China sells the debt?
All right, guys. So we have to think of this as Americans. I'm assuming most of you guys live in the States here. How are we going to smartly repay our debts and actually be a strong country? At least so we're even. Not that we're trying to compete or outdo anyone, but just not to have debts. And I'm gonna further look into these. Like, what are these debts associated with? How, what did we buy from these countries? Like it says, Japan, we owe them $1 trillion. Like, what did we buy from them that is so, and so things improve, guys. Things improve because there are multi-ethnic families where people are coming closer together, and varieties of people are connecting with each other, not just different mixed ethnicity marriages, but cultures are mixing and everything. But continuing on here, guys.
What if they do? Here's what happens if China sells the debt. What happened in 2008? The massive market crash that we faced in 2008 in the U.S., where the market tanked nearly 40% in a year. I'll never forget that. I'm in the financial industry. I'm a Series 7 financial advisor. Sincerely, boom, 38%. Clients calling. As bad as that was, it's going to be worse if China does this. And you know who affects the most if this happens? China. China's going to take the biggest hit. China will be one of the ones that takes the biggest hit in this. Why will China take the biggest hit? Because remember, if that happens, what are they going to do with this? This is a big part of the economy, $539.5 billion. So now you're listening to this and you say, well, Pat, who needs two more? Who needs two more? I mean, U.S. relies on the cheap labor. Let's face it, we need them. And China kind of relies on us for our U.S. goods. They need us, but who needs more? So here's the part that President Trump is used to. If there's one thing President Trump is used to, he knows negotiation and he knows leverage. This is what I mean. He may not be the most, likable guy out there in the world. Not a lot of people like this guy. And it's for obvious reasons. He goes after people hardcore, but he knows leverage. What do I mean by leverage? He knows these guys need it. I mean, one time President Trump owed $1 billion to the bank, and somebody asked him and says, aren't you worried that you owe the bank $1 billion? He says, why should I be worried? The bank should be worried. I have their $1 billion. They're the ones that should be worried. So he realizes China should be worried. They have our 1.1. We have their $1.13 trillion. And in this entire leverage game, China also has to realize their net migration rate, which is how many people are moving to China, is one of the lowest net migration rates in the world. It's in the negative, while U.S. migration rate is the highest in the world. We take more immigrants than any other country in the world. It's not even close. We're number one. Even though you hear all this stuff about immigration, everybody in the world wants to come to America. Not everybody in the world is wanting to go to China. Why is that? You know, this whole thing that you hear, if you go search right now, forget about where I'm at, go search.
We live in the land of the free, ladies and gentlemen, and that is a compelling reason for people to try to participate and do something, do something more worldly, and that's what the U.S. is. It's going in that direction. People might say, well, America's America, and we speak English, and it's just different than other countries. I think English is the best language for communication. As far as I know, I think it has the most words and so on. And I think it sounds more pleasant than other languages, and that may be one reason. But see, it's all these different elements in play, and most importantly, not wanting slave trade. Like whether you want an animal to be a slave and consuming meat and dairy products, which could be from hurt animals, or maybe coffee or different clothing that's from an animal that's hurt or a person that's not treated fairly. Like these are all things to think about when they talk about this $5 a day, $5 a day pay for making Nike shoes or whatever it is.
Now, China's unemployment rate, and look how weird it is. The last 20 years, 3.4%, 3.5%, 3.8%, 3.2%. How do you know that's accurate? Remember, free press in U.S. There's no free press type of stuff going on in China. You don't hear Democrats and Republicans going at it. One of the best things for America is the fact that we have Democrats going against Republicans and Republicans going against Democrats. There's always this push, so you can kind of sit there and say, there's the truth. There's the truth. There's the truth. Oh, these guys are playing the games. There is none of that. Some people say the unemployment in China is around 14%, 13.8, 14%. By the way, CNBC did an article saying a third of millionaires in China want to leave for 3 reasons. Number 1 is education. Number 2 is polluted cities. And number 3 is that government has way too much control over their people. So what's going to really happen here? How long is this really going to last? Because when you're looking at the same path, I don't really understand what's going to happen. Here's the reality of it. It's really who can hold out the longest right now. Really. Who can afford the longest right now? You know, when the mortgage crisis took place and a lot of people lost a lot of things, there were also a lot of people that became very wealthy afterwards. You know why?
Okay, so obviously what he's suggesting there is when the economy changes, it's like kind of a game. It's kind of like people might not like all this talk about economics and money, but it really is a game, and you just have to know how it works and what you need. Obviously, you need cash, and you need to wait for people to sell cheaper so that you can buy, and then strategize. And then there's all these gray areas like needing insurance and money to pay people in order to get a business started, and then maybe only 5 years after the business, construction, restaurant, or any business, you actually start making money. So it takes money to make money. But at the end of the day, guys, most millionaires are self-made, wealthy people. So that's something to really consider, And of course, we're studying them. So we have about a minute left with this guy, and then I have another guy who's very dramatic, and we'll see what his take on the political matter is.
Who had the most cash and who was the most stable? In this situation, whoever's most stable, whoever has most cash, whoever needs the other person less is going to win here. And eventually, someone's going to come out of it. Because what President Trump is starting to realize is he's saying, wait a minute, what if we make those jobs come to America? What if we do manufacturing in America? What if we bring those jobs back? Well, what if we make all that money come back here? Well, what if we're making iPhones here? And forget about what if we don't make them here. How about we go to another country that doesn't offer high tariffs? How about we go to another place that's not offering us as expensive as it is? Why don't you go to another Asian country that's out there, but don't go to China? Because he realizes this vision that China has, they want power, they want domination, they want to be number one. And President Trump is extremely competitive. And he's not okay with that happening on his turf. Could it happen 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now? I don't know. I can't predict the future. What I can tell you is this trade war that's going on, it's all about leverage. And whoever has the most leverage is probably going to end up winning at the end. And I don't know who it's going to be. But for this situation, as we're looking at, we can tell who has the leverage. So having said that, if you watch this video and you're kind of worried about a possible market crash, I got another video I want you to watch. It's called The Next Market Crash and 8 Ways to Prepare for It. Here's a thumbnail. If you haven't watched it, click on it to go watch. We'll put a link below as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you got any thoughts or questions, comment below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
So yeah, that's a really cool guy. Valuetainment, Mr. Patrick. Boober, you're suggesting that if you come up with a new tech or some idea, you can become wealthy. Very true. All right, Mr. G, is it true that Elon Musk bought Fortnite and can shut it down?
No, it was just a joke.
Okay. All right, next we're gonna watch this guy Richard. What's the guy's name? Jeremiah. Babe. And he's gonna do a follow-up on everything I just talked to you about here, guys. You ready? Here we go, guys.
It's Tuesday, October 8th, 2019. Making a quick video today. I've got to get out of here. I've got to take care of some business, but I wanted to check in with everybody, and I wanted to touch on a few topics while I have the time. Dow Jones down 313 points today. Optimism around the upcoming talks this Thursday in Washington, D.C. with China. The optimism is fading. This president now is blacklisting companies. Here on CNBC article, Department of Commerce added 28 new companies and agencies to its running blacklist of Chinese firms banned from doing business in the U.S. So as I said yesterday, this president must start playing hardball. He's got to stop worrying about the stock market. He's going to have to stop worrying about the economy if he plans on defeating China in this trade war. And what's really sad is, as I said in the opening, things are escalating with China in this trade war. Things are escalating right here in America. Major division. Now this talk of impeachment getting more and more serious, and it cannot be helping this country in any way, especially when we're in the middle of a trade war, when we know that the real economy is suffering. So many things happening. I don't see how an impeachment is going to benefit the country. What it will do is it will divide the country even more, and it is going to cause serious problems on the streets of America if they attempt to impeach this president. If something happens, expect to see very serious things happening here in America. All this talk is doing right now is escalating things. It's dividing things. I don't want to see any president fail, because if this president fails, America fails. I mean, this guy has got so much on his plate. He's trying to get this economy going. Many people will say, well, why doesn't he just tell people the truth? If this president told you the truth about what's really happening with this economy right now, the markets would collapse instantly. Global markets would collapse instantly. Look,
I want you to think about what he's just saying. If the president or the White House made an official formal blah blah blah, the government blah blah blah. That's just like saying if the government made a formal announcement of the presence of UFOs. Don't put all your faith and confidence in the government or doctors or anyone. Nobody's an authority. We're all imperfect and limited, and be your own authority. Derive your own conclusions, do your own cross-referencing, independent research, investigations on things, and don't hope for other people to tell you the truth. If somebody's not being honest with you, you should discover and discern that. If they're trying to manipulate that, be perceptive of that. And in this instance, if they're saying whatever the economy, blah blah blah, investigate it for yourself. Look into it.
Or hate him. If this president fails, the country fails. If he comes out and tells you the truth that we all know that the economy is doing horribly, that there are bad people in Washington right now doing everything they can to make sure that they disrupt and destroy and bring this economy down, just to blame him for it. One thing I can say is this man is trying to get this economy going. He's trying to create jobs. He's the only president in my lifetime that's actually stood up to China. So love him or hate him, just remember the ramification future. They're greedy. They only care about themselves. But what they don't understand is this whole demise. If they bring this country down, they're going to go down with it too. They don't understand that. They believe that they're going to be protected.
So he's talking about wealthy people, and that in theory they won't be affected or by the country being messing up. It's all about realizing, guys, like these people may have some racism and bias, but trying to transcend that and realize that there are good and bad people of every race and ethnic background, and to be classy and to have class, to be high class, it's only a small aspect. Only part of it has to do with being financially prudent, and having some money, such that you're not needing to beg people or in a tight position, and you're not, for example, taking on responsibilities you can't afford, like raising a family or paying for an expensive item that you can't afford. The idea of spending and buying fancy things and amenities, luxuries, things that we don't need, has to do with feeling entitled to them. And sometimes it's good to be entitled, like I deserve something. But as long as you can pay your other bills and have emergency money, take care of, say, hospital bills or being rich is how long you can survive if you lost your job right now. If your overhead expenses aren't that much, then you can endure and sustain your existence for a certain amount of time. And maybe if you have $1,000 and it only costs about $300 a month for you to live, then you're in pretty good shape. Somebody might have $10,000, but it might cost them $10,000 for a month to live, for example. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so let's enjoy the rest of this, and we'll see how things go.
Nothing's going to happen to them. If they bring this country down, they're going to go down with it also. We talk about the market today. Again, Dow Jones down with this fading optimism. Yet I think we put so much emphasis on what's happening with this trade war with China. But what is really the danger here is the massive amount of debt now, $22.7 trillion of debt here in America, not including unfunded liabilities, Medicare, Medicaid, the pension crisis. What's holding up the market?
Hey, Beaster.
Trillions of dollars of corporate buybacks and the Fed. This is the only thing holding these markets.
Okay, what he means by corporate buybacks is that corporations buy their own stocks to make it look like other people are buying their stocks, so it looks like they're doing well. What's important to realize about products and services is that what a country produces, and whether its citizens buy its own products and services, or whether they spend their money overseas or buy, for example, an imported car or other products. These are all questions to ask. And ultimately, like I was saying earlier, really what life is about is it's about doing things for other people and and creating things for other people. And yeah, Beaster, I'm reviewing economic matters and trying to get to the root causes of poverty and financial imposition at a small scale and at a global scale.
Right now, you must understand that, and this is why it's so imperative that you are preparing. The whole thing is an illusion. When it's cheap for these corporations to borrow money by the billions, the biggest bang for the buck are corporate buybacks, buying shares up, buying their own company shares up, which creates the illusion of growth when things aren't really growing. And this is what's happening in the stock market today. It's complete illusion. The Fed's, the Federal Reserve's suppression of interest rates has incentivized stock market buybacks in many ways. The markets are debt dependent now. We now have a debt dependent speculative system that transfers risk back to the Fed and to the taxpayer. The Fed has bitten off more than they can chew. The balance sheet is expanding.
All right, that sounded a little confusing, but what he's saying, I would say, is that two things. One of them is to not always think that it's a safe and secure economy and the dollar is strong. I'm going to be doing more research on making the dollar strong. Excuse me. Making the dollar. And it's not about the country having a stronger dollar than other countries. It's just about it not inflating on its own, independent of other currencies. And there are simple things to do. The economy.
Around $4 trillion in debt. We are running out of ammunition in regards to interest rates. We do not have a lot of room to drop rates when this economy collapses. This is not going to end well, as expanding credit and borrowing to fund speculation and consumption inevitably ends in a currency crisis that affects the rich, the poor, and you. So as the U.S. economy is getting very close to a crisis, because at some point the money injections, the interest rates, as we're getting very close to zero already, are going to have less and less effect. The Fed is going to run out of tricks. And as we enter this massive slowdown here in America, the global slowdown, same time being in a trade war with China, having a divided country, having all this political and social uncertainty going on, and literally something can really spark something here, and we could be in very, very dangerous times. I always say that economically, as things get bad, they're going to get bad out on the streets. Okay, if we see a collapse here in America, which we will see, we don't know how bad it will be. I believe it's going to be very severe. It will be a severe collapse, and that is going to pour out socially. That's going to pour out into the streets. You're going to see crime rise. You're going to see people become even more divided. You're going to see people become hateful. They're going to resent when their pensions fall apart, when they start getting major pension cuts, or when the pension crisis hits and some people have no pension. People's lifestyle is going to change overnight. And right now, people are eating, they're drinking, they're watching football, and everything is okay. The EBT checks are showing up. The federal subsidies are showing up. The minute that ends is the minute you're going to see a different America. China strongly urges U.S. to remove sanctions and stop accusing it of human rights violations. And also, let's not forget the animal abuse violations in China, how they eat dogs, cook them alive, butcher them alive. I'm not gay. Houston Rockets GM Daryl Morey, I believe that's his name, supported the Hong Kong protests, and China didn't like that. China
Tommy.
will not show NBA preseason games now, and it's amazing how much power.
So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is, I think, important if you want to be practical. And this isn't about being, oh, I'm Mr. American, great guy. This is about just, I live in a certain country and I want to be responsible and considerate about what's going on. And apparently now he's going to talk about how the China seems to have some type of financial or otherwise business or other influences in both the NFL and the NBA. And my contention would be, well, those are only sports games, and it's kind of like he says Hollywood as well. Well, it's the most important thing is that everyone at least has their basic needs met. The problem with doing that is that sometimes people take advantage of that and just be lazy and not care about society and have children when they can't afford to. If you have, government assistance and you can't afford to have children, so things to consider.
And yet now the NBA is choosing money over democracy. Money over.
So he's saying that they're choosing to, some of the NBA officials or authorities are choosing to be okay with China doing what it wants as far as the NBA is concerned. And the other one of the people was saying that we want to be able to operate how we want to.
Freedom, money over America. The NBA is a sellout. They're selling you out. They're selling America out. And as far as I'm concerned, now, just like the NFL, I will never watch another NBA game. It is time for every one of you to start picking a side, drawing a line in the sand. Are you for this country or are you against it? Are you going to support people who are supporting a communist regime, selling you out to sell NBA tickets, to sell basketball games to communist China? Why isn't anybody standing up for this GM, for what he said? Why isn't anybody standing up for America? Well, you have the right to free speech, but be ready to suffer the consequences. Why didn't Adam Silver back up America? Why didn't he back up Hong Kong? Because apparently he's a sellout, and they're looking at the money, and they're looking at China as the future. And let me tell you, as soon as they're making more money in China than they are here in the U.S., they will forget about you altogether. They go where the money is going to be spent, and where your time is going to be spent. This is very dangerous, and when I see this happening, it makes me very, very uncomfortable. How much power we're now seeing China exercising right here in our own country. Zero hedge today. Stocks plunge, gold spikes as the president goes nuclear. And I really hope he doesn't lay off the pedal here. He needs to go mega nuclear now. We're either in this trade war to win it or we're not. And I really pray to God that this president really goes after China. I really pray that he goes after this deep state and the people who are causing so much division and hate here in America. 76% of all businesses have experienced a cyber attack in the past year. Remember that. How safe is your money? How safe is the grid? How safe is the entire system, the economic system? How safe is the U.S. grid when we start looking at the amount of cyber attacks happening here in America? Again, this is why you must be your own central bank. Make sure that you're not keeping too much cash in the banks. These banks are broke. Continued injections we see what's happening with the cyber attacks. It's another reminder. Bank doesn't keep all the depositor money in that bank at one time. If people deposit 20,000 working, people are doing what they do. Don't be fooled. Don't be deceived by what you see on the outside. Things inside, the foundation is rotting and decaying, and this whole house of cards is going to come down. Nobody knows when, but it is running on borrowed time. The question is, are you prepared to deal with what's going to be coming when this whole thing comes crashing down? God bless every one of you. Have a great day.
All right, so yeah, it was good. That was good. I'm glad for your being able to check out my efforts. Wanted to share a couple of notes before concluding here, but I think you guys get the idea. There's stuff to be aware of. Realize that there are things going on. Realize that maybe we don't, sports and spending on all types of things aren't necessary, or different things, whatever you spend on. Just think about feeling good about, oh, I'm financially strong. Oh, I'm rich because I could live this many months into the future without, needing a job. Position yourself so you can do the things you want in life, whatever that may be. Improve the world, start a business, write a book like Mr.G is doing. You just need to know what you can afford. And we have to decide how we're going to live in the future, what type of exchanges we want. Another thing I want to say is never concern yourself with what people think. Be concerned, or other people. Think about what you're thinking and concerned about. And in that sense, if you're a nice person, sometimes you got to be defensive, avoid people's situations. But if you're a nice person, you'll feel good about wanting to be nice. But what I mean is, don't be nice to make other people feel good. Be nice because because it'll make you feel good. Don't improve. Don't give to charity because you're trying to make other people feel better. They might not even appreciate it, or it might not be good for them, whatever. But do it because you think it's suitable and rational. Like improve the world because you want to invest in your future reincarnations. The next time you reincarnate 100 years from now, you want it to be nicer, especially in maybe poor countries. If you incarnate in a poor country, you want it to be better because of your efforts in this lifetime. So the question is, what constitutes work? What will people pay for? What can you charge? All these things. This is all economics, at home and abroad. What can you pay people? Can you afford to pass by a dollar flying on the ground? Do you need that dollar? Do you need to pay people? Can you afford to delegate responsibility and pay people to do things in your business? Remember, I always work with people, not for them. Work with people, not for them. All right? Know how to be your own supervisor. Know what it means to be a good supervisor. Placate, tolerate, and pretend when you need to, not when you don't. Choose to be classy and formal when you have a choice. I like to wear a nice ring. That's my purity ring. And always ask what ground you're standing on. Alright, ask, are you on U.S. soil? Then maybe be considerate and try to improve that economy. Are you in somebody else's house? Is that person potentially bad or manipulative? Are you in somebody else's car? Are you at somebody else's party? Or are they the host of an invitation that you took upon, to an invite to go somewhere? Think about all these things, and I want to say aloha, and keep on cashing those checks, but make sure you're Make sure you're doing good with it, guys. All right, be good, and you know.
You wrapping it up there?
I am actually. I am.
Okay, I can go and raid somebody from over here.
Oh, that sounds fun. Remember to switch it to an Independence We Trust, and what else? Yeah, let's feel good about where we are, guys. All right, let's celebrate the efforts of the past, and here we go. We're about to boost everyone. If you guys want to check out another channel, raid another channel, I think that would be fun.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna raid Kiara Kitty.
We are?
Yeah, then I'm gonna rob JR for his $100. I don't know if she'll notice, but everybody say hi to Kiara Kitty. I stopped kind of talking to her on Twitter or whatever. But,
What do you mean, really?
But anyways, I still follow her and everything. But
All
just
right,
say
all
hi
right.
and
Sounds good.
I'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Aloha, mahalo.
All right, aloha, guys. Fun show. Thanks for tuning in.
Alright, I'll see you guys later. Peace, everybody. See, we're only rating with a party of 7, so it's probably another.
Right.
But I don't know, should be like a little notice on our chat.
So are we still live?
Yeah, I think so, but oh no, that's right. Well, no, I think when you go to the channel, it would go to see. Look, I guess that's the video preview. So yeah, I guess we are live, but for some reason, but I'm not really sure really. Some computers
Okay.
are probably us. Yeah, I guess you should hit it off in there.
All right, guys. Take care.